So there was one anime from the spring season that I felt was really good and stood above the rest in terms of quality. This anime has been able to tell a really good story about growing up, and the life journey we are seeing the characters go on is so great. The anime I'm talking about is Shirley. This is one of the few anime that I felt has actually told a really compelling story so far this year, and I will tell you all the things that make it so good. So let's get into it. Shirley is a story about a girl named, Shirley. This is her life story. We are getting to see her grow up and learn the ways of the world. We have seen her be a fun-loving and goofy kid who has a bunch of kid problems. Now, in the current point of the anime, we are seeing her deal with a lot more mature issues. I really love seeing how this story is showing us the life of one person and making her story feel so real, because it is going to be a really powerful and hard-hitting story. Hell, it already is one, but by the end it'll be even more so, I just know it. Anne has to learn one very valuable lesson in her life from a pretty young age, and that is what really is family. You see Anne, an orphan girl who is taken in by the Cuthberts, and they have to live together and become a family. Anne is this hyper fun-loving girl with the wildest imagination. Sometimes that can get her into trouble, but you can't stay mad at her for long because she is just being a kid. Matthew is someone who supports Anne unconditionally. He is there to cheer up and make sure that she knows she is loved. He is a kind-hearted, hard-working man, and you can see that reflected in how people treat him. Marilla is someone who scolds Anne and really teaches her valuable skills. Marilla keeps everyone in check and makes sure that Anne doesn't get into too much trouble. Who knows what Anne would have done if it wasn't for Marilla, who was there to teach her right from wrong. Marilla can be harsh sometimes, but you can see just how much she really loves Anne all the time. Anne also respects and loves Marilla as well, and you can really see that more now that Anne is a lot older. Seeing these characters all become one happy family in this story has really been the highlight of this anime for me. There are a lot of great things about this show, but this one is one of my favorites. Growing up is never easy, especially if you are in a new environment and having to adjust to new rules that you never had before. Anne has to grow up a lot in this series. She is someone who has this whimsical imagination and she doesn't ever let that die, but she needs to learn when it's okay and when it's not okay to talk about that stuff. As the anime goes on, she matures a lot, but she fundamentally stays the same. She never changes as a person. We just see her become more mature and a much more confident person than who she is. At the beginning, one of her biggest insecurities is her red hair and freckles, but now at this point in the story, she no longer cares about either of those two things and has learned that she can be beautiful even with those things. Anne has learned a lot and is now trying to be like an older sister to some of the new kids who have come to live in the house, and she has done a great job at being there for those kids, but also making sure they don't get into too much trouble. I can't wait to see what she becomes when she actually becomes an adult and not just a teenager, because she has already come so far and has grown so much. Despite Anne having this upbeat and bright personality, she actually struggles to make friends initially. That's mostly because people think she is a little weird. But when she does finally make friends, they are some really good people who really care and who Anne really cares about. This anime has done an incredible job at writing these friend characters. Sometimes you have conflicts with friends or do stupid stuff with them that gets you hurt or in trouble, or you might just even roast each other. But in the end, you always stay friends because that's just what good friends are like. And Anne has good friends. Some of them not as much as others, but still. Anne has the struggle with falling in love. She hasn't admitted it yet, but she does like someone and she's still learning to love in that way. We see her hang out with and even invite out Gilbert, who didn't even start off on the right foot with Anne, but over time they have become great friends and would definitely start dating at some point because he's always there for her. Anne's struggles feel like the struggles of a real person who lived in Canada in the 19th century, and that is what makes this story feel so good. Dreams are such a big part of everybody's lives. Everyone has a dream of something they want to do in life, and we may not always be able to achieve it, and that's no different with Anne Shirley. Anne has such a vivid imagination that, of course, she is also a dreamer. She has so many things she wants to do, but she does eventually find the job she wants to do, and she learns the skills needed to achieve it. But of course, Anne comes into so many crossroads in her life like we all do, and she has to make tough decisions in order to achieve her dreams. This series does such a good job at portraying what it's like to dream as a kid and have those inspirations. And as you get older, those often stop being as bold and vivid as they were when you were a kid, but you can still have dreams. And we still see that at play all the time in this show, with all the characters, both Anne and the side characters as well. Life is a series of departures. We all have to say goodbye to people constantly. Goodbyes are just a part of life. They can be tough to deal with, and some are more permanent than others, but we have to get used to saying goodbye. Anne, as she has gotten older, has had to say goodbye to so many people she truly cares about. But she is learning that one chapter closes and another opens. Life is like a book, and you have to write your own story, and that is exactly what Anne decides to do. She decides to face her future instead of giving up on it for the sake of others. Anne is very strong, and she can overcome any hardship that comes her way, and we realize that more and more with each episode. Goodbyes also lead to a loneliness in your heart that can be tough to overcome. Everyone experiences loneliness at least once in their life, and so we have to learn that there are always people who care about us in our lives. We just have to learn to recognize it. Grief is also just another part of saying goodbye. We all experience grief, and we all have to say goodbye to our loved ones. Grief is something that can be very difficult to overcome without others around you to really show you how much you care, and to be there for you when you are feeling down. People experience loss and goodbyes, and that is okay. So the character writing in Anne Shirley is godly. The characters are so good. I've already brought up a few of them, and I've brought up Anne a lot, but there are other great characters as well. Somehow, even the side characters are extremely well written. Diana is Anne's best friend and appears quite often in the story. She stands by Anne and defends her, and Anne does the same. They each support each other in ways that most friends wouldn't do, but that is what makes them best friends. Their lives are taking different turns, but they still each love and care for each other. Gilbert is also such a cool character. I mentioned earlier in the video that he and Anne didn't start off on the right foot, but now they are very close friends and we know that they are heading towards more than that. Gilbert has been someone who has been there for Anne in ways that even Diana couldn't be, and he is also a good rival to Anne. They were always the top of the class and competing for the best grades, and now they are both off to college and will be able to live their best lives. Matthew is one of the people who adopted Anne, and he was always so supportive of her and always made sure that she was as happy as she could be. He was a hard-working man. He was loved by his family. He is still someone that Anne leans on even after everything. He will always be someone Anne can turn to and just talk to about her problems. Marilla is the other person who adopted Anne. She is more strict and has always made sure that Anne was on her best behavior. Her and Anne didn't start off on the best foot either, but now Anne loves and respects Marilla a lot and understands why Marilla was so strict with her. All of the characters in this anime have stories to tell, and each one of them have lived lives that feel so real. That is what makes the anime so good. Anne Shirley has been a highlight of the last season and this current season too. It is such a great anime that I find myself loving it more and more with each episode that comes out. I want to go back and watch the old version of this anime to see how it compares to this modern adaptation, because I love this version and I can't imagine how good the old version would be with its slower pacing. So yeah, I think you can see why I recommend this anime. It's great. But anyway, that was the video. If you liked it, be sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe as well. It helps out a ton. And if you do decide to join the community, then I guess I'll see you next week with another video. Bye.
Trying to get to service just like that started. Science editor Steve Newman reports on one person already using the brand new system.